Hey everyone, my name is Edward, and today I'll be talking about how modern technologies like AI and large scale data collection impact user privacy, and whether current laws and ethical systems are actually enough to protect us. Because at this point, almost everything we do is digital. And the real question I want to explore is if whether, little by little, these technologies are shifting power away from individuals and into the hands of larger institutions. Modern technology constantly collects data about us, from our behavior, location, purchases, and even patterns in how we think. This alone is not the problem. The problem is that most people don't fully understand how much is being collected or what is being done with it. That lack of awareness is where the issue really starts. Because when people don't fully understand what is being taken from them, they also don't fully understand what they're giving away. You can see this in real life with something as simple as downloading an app like Instagram. One of the first things it asks you is whether you want to allow tracking for your data. But if you look closely, even the wording for declining is kind of strange. It doesn't just say deny, it says ask app not to track. That doesn't fully feel like full control. It almost feels like the system is so designed in a way that favors data collection no matter what you choose. So even from the start, it can feel like the user has less power than they think. And the reason for that is simple. Data is extremely valuable. Companies make a huge amount of money from user data, and that is one of their main business models. So even though these apps feel free, in reality, we're the product. When you use their platform, auto algorithms can instantaneously profile you. This profile ensures your increased engagement with the platform, perfecting and sharpening the accuracy of your profile. And finally, our attention, our behavior, and our data are what gets sold. From a business standpoint, it makes sense. If a company can automate a way to profile you, predict your desires, and then give you exactly what will keep you engaged, then from their perspective, that is a huge advantage. They win because you stay on the platform longer, and other companies win because they could buy access to that information. From a profit standpoint, it's a no-brainer. But the real problem is not just that companies profit. The real problem is what this data can become once it is collected. At first, it can seem harmless. Maybe a company just wants higher profits, more engagement, or better advertising. But ethically, the question is, where does it stop? To what extent should a company be allowed to use your data? And what happens when that data moves beyond one company and into the hands of another organization with very different motives? Because data is sensitive. One group may want money, another may want influence, another may want control. And that is where this starts becoming much more dangerous. This is where the issue becomes bigger than privacy alone. Privacy is not just about hiding things, it is about control, identity, and security. When privacy starts to disappear, people can be profiled, manipulated, and harmed through data breaches, influence, or just surveillance. And if you zoom out, it becomes a much bigger power issue. The more data gets collected and centralized, the more power shifts away from individuals and toward larger institutions, whether those are corporations or governments. Even if we don't go straight into this most extreme scenario, the direction itself matters. Less data in fewer hands means less control in fewer hands. And yes, this can sound extreme again, but I still think it's worth thinking about. If a powerful government or organization had enough detailed data combined with advanced AI, it could potentially analyze behavior, beliefs, and patterns on a massive scale. In the wrong hands, in the wrong hands, that kind of system could be used not just for business, but for control. A person might not even be judged based on something they actually did, but based on what a system predicts about them, or what it interprets their views, philosophy, or behavior to mean. That is where it stops feeling like a privacy issue and starts feeling like a power issue. In a more dystopian or totalitarian situation, a person could be treated like a threat not because of their confirmed actions, but because an algorithm predicts that they might become one, or because their beliefs do not align with what those in power want. Now, yes, again, that is an extreme scenario, and hopefully not a likely one in most places, but I still think it's important because the direction is what matters. Once that kind of power exists, the real question becomes who controls it and how far can it go? And what protections are really in place to stop it from being abused? And if you're thinking this is sounding a little crazy, I would argue that that reaction kind of proves the point. There is a huge lack of awareness around how much data is actually being collected through normal phone use. Most people know that tracking exists, but I don't think most people understand how detailed it could be. You would be surprised how much can be learned from everyday activity alone. What makes this even more unsettling is that a lot of this data is not something you actively give. It is not just what you type or post, it is how long you look at something, what you scroll past, what you pause on, and what repeatedly catches your attention. All of that gets tracked, often without you even really thinking about it. So the profile being built is not only based on what you say about yourself, it is based on what your behavior reveals about you without even realizing it. And this is where AI takes it to another level. AI does not just collect data, it analyzes it, organizes it, and turns it into a profile in seconds. In some cases, that profile can become so accurate that it almost acts like a digital version of you. Not just what you like, but how you behave, what you're likely to click on, what keeps your attention, and possibly even what kind of decisions you are likely to make. So at that point, it is no longer just collection, it becomes interpretation, prediction, and influence. Think about something like ChatGPT. It can generate a strong response from a relatively small amount of input. Now imagine a system with that kind of speed and intelligence, but instead of answering questions, it is focused entirely on building a profile about you. That is basically what these systems are moving toward. So now the question becomes, are we protected? Legally, some places like the European Union have stronger laws like GDPR that focus more on user rights. The United States is more flexible but also less consistent. Ethically, this becomes a balance between two ideas. One side says people have a right to privacy no matter what. The other side says data collection is acceptable if it benefits society through convenience, innovation, or security. And right now, we're kind of stuck in the middle of those two positions. So, to bring everything together, we're living in a time where data is constantly being collected, often without full awareness. AI is making the data more powerful and at the same time more personal. And because of that, the issue is not just technology, it is control. Who owns your data? Who benefits from it? And how much say do you actually have in the process? Because if we don't fully understand how our data is being used and we don't meaningfully control it, then we're not really in control of that part of our lives. And to me, that is the part that matters the most. Here are my references, and thank you for tuning into my presentation.